Welcome back to my GH Fans channel, fans. Man, oh man, do I have an incredibly wild ride of a video for you all today. Grab your coffee, grab your snacks, because my mind is spinning with these latest General Hospital teasers. I was totally shocked when I started piecing these clues together. And honestly, I didn't expect the writers to pull a fast one on us quite like this. Before we dive in, let me just lay down the ground rules for today's deep dive. This is just my interpretation. None of what I'm about to say is set in stone. I am putting the puzzle pieces together based on what we've seen on screen, but I could be wrong. I want to make that super clear up front. There are no absolute certainties here, just a lot of intense speculation from a fan who spends way too much time analysing the streets of Port Charles. In my opinion though, the writing has been on the wall for weeks if you know exactly where to look. So, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. The teaser that we are actually dealing with two accidents happening simultaneously. When I first heard the chatter, I feel like my brain short-circuited. Two accidents at the exact same time? We all know about Jordan and Curtis. That crash was brutal, it was visceral, and it left us all holding our breath. But the idea that there is a second, completely separate accident involving Danny and Charlotte, I was shocked. I mean, my jaw literally hit the floor. Let's break down the Jordan and Curtis situation first, because I have a lot of thoughts on this. Who caused it? Well, I think the culprit is none other than Brooke Lynn. Hear me out. We know Brooke Lynn has been struggling. She was allegedly drinking heavily, completely inebriated, and decided to get behind the wheel. Why? Because she was desperately trying to get to Charlie's pub to see her son perform. In my opinion, this adds such a tragic, heartbreaking layer to the whole mess. She wasn't out trying to hurt anyone. She was just a messed up mum making a horribly reckless decision in a moment of intoxicated desperation. I feel like Brooke Lynn was so hyper-focused on getting to Charlie's pub, so completely unaware of her surroundings, that she violently swerved into Jordan's lane. This reckless maneuver is what forced Jordan to jerk the steering wheel, leading directly to the catastrophic crash with Curtis. But here is where it gets crazy. I didn't expect the aftermath to play out the way it did. Brooke Lynn fled. Now, I think it's entirely possible that because she was so incredibly drunk, she genuinely blacked out. She might not even realize she caused the near-fatal accident. She just kept driving, leaving a scene of total devastation behind her in the dark. And who comes to the rescue? Valentine and Carly. I was shocked to see this dynamic duo stepping up to pull Jordan and Curtis from the wreckage, but this creates a massive, massive problem. Valentine is a wanted fugitive. He is literally on the run. He cannot just waltz into the PCPD or the hospital and give a witness statement. He can't say, hey guys, Carly and I saved them, and by the way, here is the license plate of the car that ran them off the road. He is completely handcuffed by his own legal troubles. So the person who caused the accident, Brooke Lynn, is gone and maybe completely unaware of her guilt. And the people who saved them, Valentine and Carly, have to stay in the shadows to protect Valentine's freedom. This is a brilliant narrative trap. It leaves the mystery wide open. But wait, how does the truth come out? Well, I feel like it's going to come down to two things. First, traffic cameras. Port Charles has to have some cameras on those dark roads, right? But more importantly, Jordan, if Jordan wakes up, and God, I hope she does, she is a trained law enforcement officer. I think she is going to remember the headlights. She is going to remember the make and model of the car. She might even have caught a glimpse of Brooke Lynn's face in the flash of the streetlights. When Jordan regains consciousness, the clock is going to start ticking for Brooke Lynn. Now, let's shift gears completely to the second accident, the one involving Danny and Charlotte. Initially, I am not going to lie, I was confused. I thought, wait, did Danny and Charlotte somehow cause Jordan and Curtis to crash? But after rewatching some scenes and really sitting with it, I changed my mind. I didn't expect this, but I think their accident is entirely disconnected. I feel like it happened miles away from where Jordan and Curtis were fighting for their lives. So, if Brooke Lynn didn't run Danny and Charlotte off the road, who did? This is where my brain went into overdrive. Remember Isaiah? Remember how he was frantically speeding to Lulu's house? Rocco had that nasty infected wound on his hand, and Isaiah was rushing over there to provide emergency medical treatment. In my opinion, Isaiah's panic is the catalyst for the second crash. I think Isaiah was driving like an absolute maniac, breaking every speed limit in Port Charles to get to Rocco. As he was tearing around a corner, he forced Danny and Charlotte's car off the road. But here is the twist. It wasn't a massive, explosive crash like Jordan and Curtis's. It was a fender bender, a ditch dive. I feel like Danny and Charlotte's car took some minor cosmetic damage, and physically, they seemed totally fine. Just a few scrapes, maybe some bruises. Because they are teenagers with secrets, and let's face it, when do teenagers in Port Charles ever immediately tell the truth? They decided to cover it up. They didn't call the cops. They just brushed off the dirt and swore each other to secrecy. But guys, this is a soap opera. The secrets never stay buried, and the trauma never just goes away. This brings me to the educational part of today's theory, because we need to talk about delayed medical trauma. I think Danny is a walking time bomb right now. In the medical world, the adrenaline from a car crash can mask severe internal injuries. You might feel totally fine for days, even weeks before the symptoms hit you like a freight train. I didn't expect them to play the hidden injury card, but I strongly feel this is where the story is heading. I think Danny is going to start experiencing terrifying symptoms. Imagine a scene where he is just hanging out, maybe drinking a soda, and suddenly he starts violently vomiting. Why? Because of a slowly swelling brain contusion, a delayed concussion from his head whipping against the window during the swerve. Or maybe it's not his brain, maybe it's his chest. He could be walking up the stairs and suddenly double over in agonizing pain, clutching his ribs. He could have a hairline fracture in his rib cage that suddenly splinters, threatening to puncture a lung. I was shocked when this thought crossed my mind, but I think Danny is going to collapse. He is going to need emergency, life-saving medical attention. And when he ends up in a hospital bed at General Hospital, the truth is going to have to come spilling out. Charlotte is going to be terrified. Seeing Danny hooked up to machines fighting for his life because of an injury they tried to hide, it's going to break her. In my opinion, she is going to be the one who cracks. She is going to break down in tears and confess everything to the police. She's going to say, we were run off the road. We didn't hit a tree by accident. Someone was driving like a maniac and forced us off. And what happens next? The PCPD finally gets a reason to pull the traffic cam footage from that specific area. They will scan the blurry video looking for the reckless driver. And who are they going to see blowing through red lights in a blind panic? Isaiah. I think the fallout from this is going to be nuclear. Isaiah, a medical professional who was rushing to save one kid, Rocco, ended up inadvertently nearly killing another, Danny. The moral complexity of that is just incredible. How will Lulu react? How will Sam react? The battle lines are going to be drawn all over the hospital. And let's take a step back and look at the grand puzzle. 2 accidents, 2 hit and runs, 2 completely different motives. You have Brooklyn, driven by intoxication and a desperate need to see her child, leaving a trail of destruction behind her that severely injures Jordan and Curtis. Then you have Isaiah, driven by medical urgency and panic, causing a seemingly minor accident that turns into a life-threatening crisis for Danny. I feel like the writers are mirroring these 2 events intentionally. They are showing us how one bad decision behind the wheel, whether fueled by alcohol or adrenaline, can shatter lives in an instant. To wrap this massive theory up, let me just say again, I could be wrong. I am putting a lot of faith in my interpretation of these breadcrumbs. I think the traffic cameras are going to be the ultimate downfall for both Brooklyn and Isaiah, but it's going to take time to get there. We have to wait for Jordan to wake up. We have to wait for Danny's hidden injuries to manifest. I was shocked by how deep this rabbit hole went once I started digging. I didn't expect to find so many parallel storylines weaving together through the wreckage of these 2 cars. But that is why we love this show, right? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think Brooklyn will confess before Jordan wakes up? Do you think Danny is going to survive the delayed trauma? This is just my interpretation, but I feel like we are in for a long, painful, and incredibly dramatic sweeps month. Thanks for hanging out with me today, fans. Stay tuned, stay obsessed, and I'll see you in the next video.